Hello and welcome back to the BRSCC Mazda MX-5 SuperCup. Now, with only 6 races left in the 2019 season, we're here at Silverstone, which is the home of British motorsport. Conditions are pretty much perfect, the sun's shining, low track temperature, and the championship leader, Luke Herbert, is in pole position.
Thanks, Anthony. Well, what a fascinating last couple of rounds we have in the championship then. 6 races to go, 6 points in it, with Herbert on top ahead of Harding. Aiden Hills is realistically out of contention now in 3rd, whilst Patrick Fletcher, for the time being at least, seems to have got the better of Gary Townsend in their fight for 4th in the points. Here is your grid then for the first of 3 races on the short, sharp, but always spectacular Silverstone National circuit. Herbert's got the pole position with Harding alongside, never far apart those two. Then it's Aiden Hills with Jack Sycamore on good form again. Then Patrick Fletcher and Nick Rutter with Gary Townsend and Chris Richardson sharing the 4th row. David Henderson and George Grant round out the top 10 with Bradley Kent and Will Stevenson at the back of the grid. So, 6 races to go then, 6 points between Herbert and Harding, and Jack Harding needs to try and start beating Luke Herbert with a bit more consistency now, and this is his first opportunity to do so here at Silverstone. The lights go out, away we go, we're away and racing, and a good start made by Herbert there from the outside of row number 1. Jack Harding on the inside line trying to snatch the lead away into Cobb's Corner, though. They will be wheel to wheel through the flat out right hander on this first lap of the race at least, and they almost lean on each other on the exit of the corner, and it will still be wheel to wheel on the run into Beckett's. Aiden Hills is held on to 3rd, Sycamore is still in 4th position. They're heading towards the braking zone, still side by side between the top 2. What Jack Harding would really love, though, is for Herbert to lose a few places, which may just happen because Harding's gone through and Jack Sycamore is sideways and has spun off the road. I think he got into the side of Luke Herbert there. He was trying to take 3rd place away, and Jack Sycamore, unfortunately, is right at the back of the field now, and it'll take him a little while to catch up to everybody else. The leaders, though, head down the Wellington Straight for the first time. Harding leading the way, Hills in 2nd and Herbert 3rd. This is exactly what Jack Harding wanted, really. If he can have a car, or even more cars maybe, between himself and Luke Herbert, then of course he's taking even more points out of Luke Herbert, but Luke, I'm sure, will be on his toes here to try and get back on terms with him. However, Aiden Hills looks to be working with Jack Harding here to try and pull away at front, so can these two maybe work together to escape Luke Herbert, or is Luke going to be able to go with them? At the moment, the answer appears to be that yes, he will be able to go with them, and now they're side by side for the lead, which means that little pack to work together lasted all of 2 corners, and Aiden Hills is now came around the outside to try and snatch the lead away. Harding trying to fend him off and trying to keep an eye on what Herbert's doing, and what Herbert's doing at the moment is going up the inside of Hills for 2nd position, and he might even have a run on Harding for the race lead here. The 3 of them under a pocket handkerchief as they go underneath the bridge halfway down the Wellington Straight, and appear into view now, 3 abreast for the race lead going into Brooklands. Hills on the inside, Herbert on the outside, Harding in the middle, the 3 H's together, and Jack Harding goes from 1st down to 3rd, with Aiden Hills finding his way through into the race lead. That is how quickly things can change with the slipstream around this place. These cars are about as aerodynamic as a garden shed, so that will certainly mean they punch a big hole in the air, allows the cars to run very close together, and produces this sort of 3x3 action very frequently here at Silverstone. Jack Harding now trying to go back into the lead of the race, which he does into Cobb's Corner, with Herbert slotting into 2nd again, and Aiden Hills coming back to the front. So about half a lap ago, Jack Harding was leading, then he went down to 3rd, then he got back into the lead, and the bloke that was leading fell back down to 3rd again, and that, I think, is going to be much the theme of the race here between these 3, and if they continue to do it, then they're going to hold each other up to the point that everyone else starts to join in the fun as well. Patrick Fletcher is the best of the rest at the moment in 4th, ahead of Gary Townsend, and then Nick Rutter, I think, who is in 5th position. The 2 orange cars there fairly close together, the other one being that of David Henderson, I believe, so they're both having good races actually, those 2, based on their previous performances at least. Harding then back into the lead of the race, but as I said, this is going to continue to chop and change, I think, in the early stages of the race at least. It may then settle down through the middle part of the 20-minute race, but going into the final stages, that's when things will really start to get even more frenetic. Jack Harding then out in front. Jack was making the point, wasn't he, to Anthony pre-race as he loses the lead again into Cobb's Corner. He was making the point about fastest laps and how Lucas scored so many fastest laps. Well, oh, hang on, we'll get to that in a moment though, because Jack Harding's on the grass coming out of Cobb's Corner trying to get back up the inside of Luke Herbert, and Aiden Hill says thank you very much, slides through on the outside line and takes the lead away. You have to remind yourself that this is a 20-minute race and that these overtakes are not going to be the last ones we see, but when they're getting that close to each other and taking those sort of risks this early in the race, that really is a sign that this championship battle is particularly starting to heat up. Let's get them through Brooklands, and then I'll continue my point about fastest laps. Aidan Hills defending the inside line. Looks as though he's going to hang on, but Herbert trying to go around the outside of Harding. Don't think that'll quite work, though. Jack should be able to show him the edge of the road through the left-hander, get to the apex of Nuffield, which he does, and retain second place. So the point about fastest laps, Luke Herbert has set fastest lap this season on 8 separate occasions. That means that he's scored a total of 16 championship points just from fastest laps. When you compare that to Jack Harding, he has only scored fastest lap 3 times. That's worth 6 points, 10 fewer than Luke Herbert. Well, he's 6 points behind Herbert, so the reason that Luke Herbert is leading the championship at the moment, not Jack Harding, is straightforward. It's because he's had so many more fastest laps. Even if he finishes in second position, if he gets the fastest lap, he scores exactly the same amount of points as the race leader, which actually, on several occasions this season, has been Jack Harding. Jack has 1 more race victory than Luke Herbert. They have the same amount of podium finishes. The only thing that is separating them really are those fastest lap points, and now things are getting even more intense at the front because they have delayed each other significantly, that the others are starting to join in. And Patrick Fletcher gets on the inside and hits Luke Herbert and spins the 4th position away, but that very nearly was a complete disaster for Luke Herbert, who for the 2nd time already in just the first half of this race has been on the receiving end of contact from another driver that, thankfully, as far as he's concerned, has seen the other driver spin and not him. But a spin for Herbert was certainly not doing any good at all. He's got these drop scores to fall back on if he needs to, but he'd rather not rely on that. He's got a bit of damage to the side of the car now as well, after that latest nudge that he had from Fletcher. And in Patrick Fletcher, a great shame there, because he was another driver, a bit like Jack Sycamore, that has been knocking on the door of race victories and more frequent podiums all season long, but just hasn't been able to quite get there yet, and that could have been his best opportunity, but unfortunately, as soon as he catches the leaders, spins it away. So it's now once again just a 3-horse race for the lead. The bodywork flapping down the side of Luke Herbert's car won't be causing too much concern at the moment. Harding back through into the lead now. I'm not even going to bother calling every one of these lead changes because it's changing almost by the corner. Certainly every time we get onto a long straight of any mention, then it starts to change again. To the line they go. Harding moving to the inside to cover. Gary Townsend now, you can see, he's into 4th position, and that is Nick Rutter though, trying to get up the inside of him in the orange car. Then Will Stevenson is the yellow car in behind, just way behind in 6th place. Mistake there for Rutter though, who I think I'm right in saying has not had, no, he has had a top 5 this year. I think he's only had the one though, which was in the 3rd race at Croft back in the summer. So he's looking to try and replicate that, or even go one better and get into 4th position, and you never know, if anything goes on between these 3, that could yet become a podium battle. So they want to keep the pace up here and try and stay as close to the leaders as they can. Down into the braking zone at Brooklands again, and things are now just starting to settle down a little, as I sort of suspected they might, because we've got this it's a long 20-minute race, and so you don't really need to be trading positions by the corner as they have been. They can afford to have a few laps off, and as entertaining as it's been, it gives them a chance to take a breather and take stock of the situation, gives us a chance maybe to check in on some of the battles throughout the rest of the field as well, because that is equally as entertaining, as you can see here, from just the 4th place battle. Look at this battle for 6th between 4 drivers. Jack Sycamore continuing this fight back now after his first lap half spin at Beckett's. To there with another moment at Cops Corner though. 2nd lap in succession, and he's overshot the right-hander a little bit. Beckett, he seems to be able to catch Gary Townsend reasonably quickly, but needs to stop making that mistake. Is Will Stevenson just ahead of David Henderson then through Beckett's, and they're just starting to gap now slightly the Chris Richardson car behind, who I believe has got Bradley Kent to race with. Leading trio into the braking zone at Brooklands then. Yeah, things definitely starting to calm down a bit at the front. Further back, we do have side-by-side battling. Of course, it's not Lewis Kent, is it, that's challenging Chris Richardson. It is the recovering Jack Sycamore, and he, I think, is the driver we really need to watch for. He goes around the outside there of Richardson, so that's another place gained. The AB Motorsport car is definitely on a move here. Leaders come back across the start-finish line then. And Jack Harding, if things finished as they are now, would take just a couple of points out of Luke Herbert. He needs to try and win the race and hope that Aidan Hills gets into 2nd place with him. They're so close together, those 3, that they could legitimately finish in any order, really, couldn't they? And well, at the moment, that is the situation we have, of course, isn't it, with Herbert down in third. So Harding would score 100 for the victory. Herbert would score 96 for finishing in third position, but has just set the fastest lap. So again, this back to the point about Herbert and these fastest laps. That means that essentially he's running second, and if he gets into second, then he's scoring the same amount of points as Harding is the race leader. So it gives him that cushion that he can afford to finish one, maybe two places behind Jack Harding, and actually it's not really doing a huge amount of damage. So if Luke Herbert knows about this fastest lap, which he may well do, I'm sure he'll be being given messages on the pit boards, and he'll have the lap timer on his dash as well, telling him how quickly he's going. If he knows he's got the fastest lap in the bag, then maybe he won't feel the need to take any huge risks. This is only the first race of the weekend as well, so the last thing he wants to do is damage the car. And all three races are on the same day. Usually there's one race on the Saturday and two on the Sunday, so at least if something goes wrong in the first one, you've got Saturday night to get the car fixed. But they don't have that luxury this weekend. It's a busy day. One of two meetings this year where all of the races have been on the Sunday, of course being Alton Park earlier this season. So need to just mind their P's and Q's a bit in this first race of the day. Herbert, though, just now starting to flex his muscles a bit. Drew alongside Aidan Hills there coming onto the Wellington straight, but didn't have a slipstream to complete the manoeuvre, so Aidan hangs on to second place. Aidan and Luke are big NASCAR fans, I know, so they'll be well versed with how slipstreaming and drafting works, and so they may just be teeing up Jack Harding here for a move late in the day. They both know, having raced MX-5s at Silverstone on multiple occasions as well, all three of them will know, in fact, that it's not who leads this stage of the race that's important, it's who leads going on to that last lap, what position you want to be in onto the final lap of the race. This battle, though, is starting to intensify even further. The AKO automotive car of Gary Townsend trying to fend off not only Nick Rutter, but now also Will Stevenson, who moves alongside Rutter, going out of Copse Corner. That gives him the inside for Beckett, but he doesn't need it, he's completed the pass anyway, so Will Stevenson into 5th position now. Again, it's higher up the order than we're generally accustomed to seeing him run. So good performances here from Will. As the leaders head into the braking zone at Brooklands, it looked as though Aidan Hills was having a go for the race lead there. What's going on behind though? Will Stevenson looking up the inside of Gary Townsend. To the outside goes Nick Rutter, trying to retaliate. Go into the corner in the same order in which they were a corner ago. In fact, they come out of it still in the same order as well, so Townsend fending them off, but you're such a sitting duck out in front, and that is what Jack Harding is finding now. As soon as Aidan Hills decided he wanted to make a move, he was able to make a move, goes to the inside at Copse Corner, and there's nothing that Harding can do there to stop not only Hills going through, but Herbert going past him as well. And so now, as things stand, Herbert will take 4 points out of him, and it might be more if he gets the lead away from Hills. He can't, there's a block thrown, and that holds them both up, so Harding comes back at them now. He's on the right-hand side of the road there, that's the outside for Beckett's. And it's a brave man who tries to go right round the outside here, because you're always likely to be shown the edge of the road on the exit of the corner, which he is by Luke Herbert, but actually Luke leaves him just enough room. At this stage of the race, I think if this would have been the final lap, then Harding would have been in the weeds there, but Luke realises it's not worth tangling just yet. Drops back in behind him against the new order. For now, at least, Hills leading the way, Harding second, and Luke Herbert in third. But now Luke Herbert goes to the outside of everybody at Brooklands. He'll at least get into second place here. He might even challenge for the lead. No, Hills gets into Luffield ahead still. But Luke Herbert, with a decisive move there around the outside at Brooklands, is back into second position. Realistically, you'd have to say that Harding has to try and beat Herbert in all of the races this weekend. If he can beat him even just by one position in each race, that guarantees that Herbert won't have any sort of a lead on him going into the final 3 races at Donington Park. But Jack Harding has been in this situation before, hasn't he, on the last couple of seasons, going into the final couple of rounds, tantalisingly close to the championship leader and just not able to do anything about it. Well, this season, right from the offset really, he's been saying, I'm going to win the championship this year, this is my year, I'm not going to let it slip away again. And it's getting down to the time of the season where he needs to put his money where his mouth is and prove to everyone that he is capable of beating Luke Herbert to the championship here. We know he can win races, but putting together a championship campaign is something that this man, Luke Herbert, driver of car number 1, just seems to be able to do year after year. Already a double champion in the MX-5 SuperCup. He could become the first ever 3-time champion, but only if he can come home a winner again at Donington Park in a few weeks' time. And he might have to be fairly consistently winning races to achieve that as well. I think finishing second and third is going to be enough in the long run, although at the moment second place would be enough because Jack Harding is behind him, actually some way behind him, because Luke and Aidan have just stolen a bit of a march on the AK Automotive car at the start of this lap. I think Luke had a great run through Luffield, through Brooklands and Luffield on the end of the previous lap, and that's just dropped him a little further back than he'd like to be, but he should still have a bit of a slipstream down the Wellington Straight. So by the time they come back to this corner, Brooklands, I'd expect they'll be right back with them again. Herbert, though, weaving around there, trying to break the toe and also trying to attack Aidan Hills. Really, though, these two think would want to be working together, but Hills is defending, and that does now bring Jack Harding back into play again. He's just almost left a bit of a gap on the inside there at Luffield for Luke Herbert to have a peek up the inside, but they stay in the same order, and they come back across the start-finish line again, as close as ever they were, so that little gap that they pulled over Jack Harding has disappeared. Look at the gap they've got, though, over fourth place now, which is still Gary Townsend, still fending off Nick Rutter, but then it is David Henderson, and a gap back to Jack Sycamore, so Will Stevenson's gone missing somewhere, and Will Stevenson is still running, but has had a moment. He's dropped right to the tail of the field now. We've lost Bradley Kent from this race, incidentally, so he's our first, at the moment, only retirement from the race. Pit lane on the end of lap number 5. Getting into the closing stages of this one now, though. Luke Herbert still has the fastest lap, incidentally, so those 2 bonus points still going his way. So at the moment, if Harding wants to take any points out of Herbert, it's not enough for him to beat Herbert. He needs to beat him by more than one position. There needs to be one car between them for Harding to even take 2 points out of Herbert. Other than that, they're going to be scoring pretty much the same, or it could even still be the case that Herbert outscores him in this race. Brooklands through Luffield, Townsend and Rutter still continuing to debate this 4th position, and that's brought now David Henderson right back onto their tail. Across the line go the leaders, though, and Aidan Hills having to now get his elbows out a little bit, trying to keep Harding behind him. Jack Harding, there, goes right round the outside at Cops Corner. That's a brave move to make, but at least there's lots of runoff area there. And in fairness, Hills leaves him room, knowing that the next corner's a right-hander, and Luke Herbert is always going to go with Aidan Hills rather than helping his big championship rival out. He's always going to go to the inside line as well. So Hills knew there that he was fairly secure to leave Harding some room on the exit of the corner, knowing that that probably wasn't going to cost him the lead at the next turn. In fact, it might cost Harding second place because Herbert is now alongside. But I don't think he's got the toe. I think that Harding is driving down the left-hand side of the road. That's giving, Hills is driving down the left-hand side of the road. That's giving Harding a slipstream. But then Hills goes back to the outside again. So it actually evens out. It's going to be a battle on the brakes between Harding and Herbert. And Harding is so late on the brakes, he almost gets into the side of the race leader, Aidan Hills' car. As off goes George Grant at Cops Corner. George Grant deposits himself in the gravel trap at the first turn and will be out of the race, no doubt. That car is well and truly buried. Now, will that require a safety car? We've got, I believe, a live snatching operation this weekend, so hopefully the answer to that question will be no. The leaders, meanwhile, side by side again, but of course Harding had to abort that overtake there because there will be yellow flags out in this corner because of George Grant's off. So Jack Harding, again, things just conspiring against him a little bit there. He was about to make his move for the lead, but had to pull out of it. He's still got time to do this, though. We are into the final few laps of the race now. Aidan Hills has driven magnificently here to lead the race, but although it is difficult to lead in this championship, and we often say that being out in front means you're a sitting duck, but when it's the 2 championship rivals behind you, you can almost play them off against each other, and that seems to be what Aidan Hills has done here. He knows that Harding and Herbert are more concerned with beating each other than they are with beating him, although Jack Harding wants to go through into the race lead anyway, and will muscle his way up the inside through Brooklands Corner, but the next corner's a right-hander. Hills will retain the lead, and Herbert surely will try and stick his nose up the inside here and take second place away from Jack Harding. It is crucial that Harding finishes ahead of Luke Herbert in this race, and that might not happen. No, Herbert can't get to the inside into Cops Corner. But we're on to the final lap of the race now, so this is it. This is when the race will be decided. Who wins the race? Who leaves this race with the championship lead? Well, that's almost certain to be Luke Herbert. The question will be, by what margin? If things finish as they are now, he will retain the 6-point advantage that he had going into the race, because he's going to score exactly the same amount of points as Jack Harding in front of him. If Harding gets the lead, though, and wins the race, then that could change. Similarly, if Herbert gets past him, that would play beautifully into the double reigning champion's hands. 2 more corners to go. Aidan Hills defending the inside line, looking for his 6th victory of the year, which would equal Jack Harding's record of victories for this season. And Aidan Hills looks to have done more or less enough actually. He will defend again through Luffield, but with the effect of the slipstream here at Silverstone, the drag race to the start-finish line opens up another opportunity maybe for Jack Harding to get alongside and challenge, which is exactly what he does, but Aidan Hills will just about hang on for the victory by 9/100ths of a second. It is Hills from Harding from Herbert, your order at the front, and so the championship margin stays the same. Jack Sycamore is 4th, David Henderson is 5th with Nick Rutter 6th, Chris Richardson 7th and Gary Townsend in 8th. Patrick Fletcher dropped down to 9th after his spin, with Will Stevenson 10th, whilst George Grant and Bradley Kent sadly both failed to finish.
Aidan, 3 out of 4 here at Silverstone. That wasn't an easy race at all.
No, it's never an easy race, is it? Every race I've won, sorry, I don't think I've won it by more than half a second. So, yeah, look in the mirror every lap and it's either Jack or Luke behind me. It's a good race. Obviously, early on, it's hard to lead around here, so I wasn't too fussed about getting to lead that early. I was trying to work with either of them who was around me just to try and pull a bit of a gap to the person in 3rd. But it's just so hard to get away, you know. The tow's ridiculous, so it got to the point where I was like, well, I'll try and lead the race. And I got into the lead and basically just held it. I thought they're going to have to try and work hard to get past. So yeah, did my best and I managed to take another win. So yeah, over the moon, mate.
Yeah, you were stuck behind for about 10 laps, swapping and changing with Luke. When did you make the decision to go for the lead?
Well, yeah, I came across the line. I saw someone's pit board because my dad doesn't bother with the pit board. So I saw someone's pit board that said like 10 minutes to go. So I thought, right, I'll give it a go now. Managed to get the move on Jack. Obviously, just slipstream move down the back straight. And then, yeah, once you've got the move done, it's not easy to defend, but you can put the car in the right places. And I think I worked out how to do it after a few minutes. And just managed to hold on to the end of the race. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Look, we've got 5 more races left of the season. I'll just see how many I can win.
Yeah, go and enjoy it. Well done.
Cheers, mate.
Jack, your plan kind of worked. You finished in front of Luke, but he got a fastest lap. But what a race, all in all.
Yeah, it's one of those where obviously I got into the lead early on, so I knew I wasn't going to get the fastest lap. And it's kind of bad really, because I kind of thought I either want to stay in the lead and Luke stay in 3rd, which I knew probably wouldn't happen, or drop back and then I could try and get the fastest lap. So there was a couple of times where I backed off by over like nearly a second and a half, 2 seconds, just so I could try and drag up to the back of him. And then every time I was on like a phenomenal lap, but then I'd always catch him near the end, so I could just never quite time it perfectly. So I didn't manage to get that fastest lap. But then, yeah, we managed to. I had a feeling, obviously, when I had a feeling I didn't get the fastest lap, and I knew Luke probably had. So I thought, well, I've got to get in front of him just to try and equal out the points. So we managed to do that. So I've not lost anything, not gained anything. So we'll see what happens in race 2.
Luke, you finished 3rd. You got the fastest lap. It still means you're leading the championship, but it didn't go quite your own way, did it?
No, I mean, we worked hard to get pole in qualifying around here. To even get a small margin is hard to get. So yeah, pleased with that. But then we were put on the outside for the first corner, and obviously I lost 2 places because it's just the way Silverstone is. And in the race, yeah, it was going according to plan. Got the fastest lap, edged in front of Jack, bit of contact, and I ended up behind him. And it was yellow flag as well. So I think I've been outdone a little bit unfairly, but it's Silverstone. It's what it's what it produces. That's why it's such an exciting race. So can't complain too much. I'm still 6 points ahead of the championship. So yeah.
Well, I saw you. Aidan made his move, and I thought you were just going to follow him through.
I was trying to work with Aidan, but even when you're working with someone, they've still got to defend because you get such a tow. If they don't defend when they're working with you, I'm going to overtake. So, yeah, you can't blame Aidan for not working with me fully. And then, yeah, Jack was back with us because we broke a bit of a gap at one point. I thought that was it. But that's the way, that's Silverstone. So, that's what's exciting racing.
Well, Jack was backing off to try and get the fastest lap.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately for him, I made a mistake, dropped right back when those 2 didn't battle that lap. So I got a mega tow. They didn't hold me up at the end of the lap. So yeah, that's how I managed to get the fastest lap. Luckily.
Luckily, yeah. So somebody else's mistake made you get the fastest lap.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Well, let's see more of that in the next race. So good luck.
Thanks very much.